dames en heren. Dit is Lucía. En dit gaat, zoals je dit al ziet, is echt geweldig. Het gaat op een hele andere manier op wat we gewend waren in het Prado en Palacio en in Escorial. Het gaat hier meer op zijn gemak, rustig aan, op mooie plekken dingen uitleggen. Spreekt iedereen een beetje Engels? Heel beetje. Als je niet doet, dan gaan we het wel verstaan. Ja, geen probleem. Okay. We gaan dus praten op tú, ahora en inglés. Vale. En holandés nada. O en español.
En holandés Ajax.
Ajax.
Okay, nice to meet you. Good morning. Now we're going to visit the place, the most visited place in Ávila is the place where was the house where Saint Teresa of Jesus, the patron saint of Ávila, was born. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit information about her life, and later we're going to visit any palaces inside the wall. Nowadays, our hotels like El Parador are official buildings. We have 20 palaces from the time. At the beginning of the 16th century, Ávila became the most important city in Castilla. The Queen Isabella was born in Ávila in 1451. Was born in a small village, and Ávila later, when she got married with Ferdinand, Ávila became in summer residence for Catholic monarchs. Is the reason why we have 20 palaces from the time, because many noble families, they were living in Ávila close to the royal family. Okay. A lot of them are official buildings, but we're going to pass to see the cloisters, the patios, because here it's more simple, the Parador is different, but later now we are going to see the first one was many times the military academy in Ávila. Nowadays it's a museum, okay? And later Saint Teresa's Convent, later Cathedral Square, later Saint Teresa Square. And we're going to stop a few minutes to taste the most popular sweets from Ávila. Are called yemas. Yemas are handmade, okay? We're going to stop in the oldest shop since 1860. La Flor de Castilla is the name, okay? And later we're going to see the Adolfo Suárez Square, first president in Spain after the military regime with Franco. The first president of our democracy was Adolfo Suárez. Adolfo Suárez was born in Ávila in 1932, and he died 4 years ago, 2014. The tomb is inside the cloister of the cathedral, okay? And we're going to finish visiting the top of the wall, okay? 400 meters, more or less, okay? At the end, because if many...
Only the ones who want.
Once.
Yes,
Only
yes.
the ones that want to climb the
Okay.
wall.
Or coffee or...
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Mooi hè?
Ja, we gaan er wel op denken.
We gaan hier naar binnen mensen.
Ja, als we dat...
El Palacio de los Palacio de los Condes de Polentinos, another noble family. For many times, since 16th century to 19th century later, was a public building. The city hall building was here until at the beginning of the 20th century, and nowadays it's a museum, but before was a military academy. Okay, Teresa of Jesus, Santa Teresa de Jesus, is the patron saint of this military branch. Okay, so over there you can see, because Teresa was born in Ávila in 1515. 3 years ago we were celebrating 500 years Teresa's birth. Okay, and it's possible to see the most important events in Teresa's life in Europe, like Tercios de Flandes, okay, and in Spain, okay. So Ávila was the most important city, I said before, at the end of the 15th century, 1492. America was discovered by Cristobal Columbus. In Spain was reconquered the last Muslim kingdom, Granada. And the Jewish people, they were expelled. Then in Ávila we're going to see many places, many sites where before was synagogues. There was a synagogue, and nowadays are Catholic churches or private houses. Okay. So if you want, you can pass over there to check how Ávila, Spain, the power of Spain in the 16th century. Teresa was born inside gates in Teresa's life. And here, in Europe, okay, different important wars, okay, and Teresa's life. She was born in 1515 and she died in 1582 when she was 67 years old. This side of the palace is original, okay, the escalator, okay, made in granite. In Ávila, we are going to find a lot of granite stone. In the Spanish language, stone means piedra, or piedra as well is called canto. It's the reason why Ávila is called es la ciudad de cantos y santos. Saint Teresa, Jesus, Saint John of the Cross, and cantos because we have a granite stone. Okay? So to remain the moment to celebrate the centenary, the militaries they decided to do these scenes, okay, representing many members of the Spanish king. Let's go to see the place where she was born. Okay, this is another example of the palaces in Ávila.
De muur van Trump, die komt hier. Nee.
Oh, daar heb ik dus een kind zitten. We zijn hier voor. Dit is het centrum. We zitten hier langs de
100 years Teresa's birth. Where was her house?
You are so old? Are you so old?
There, the presbytery, and on the left, where was Teresa's parents' room, was built the most important site of the church, the chapel. Okay. So the house was demolished at the beginning of the 17th century, in 1635, more or less. In the same site was built the church of the convent, but not as a convent, it's a monastery. For us, Santa Teresa we call La Santa, just the same, La Santa. This is Convento de la Santa, Carmelite monks. St. John of the Cross was born in Ávila, in a small village, 27 years later than Santa Teresa. Very different in the childhood, because Teresa was born inside a noble family, and St. John of the Cross was born inside a poor family. Many years later, when he was 25 years old, he met Teresa. Teresa started to do the reform of Carmelites, and he decided, both were looking for austerity, he decided to reform the Carmelite monks, okay? The first upstairs to angels, and in the top of the piece there is a pelican, el pelican. The pelican is a zoomorphic figure, like if you see a fish, un pez, a lamb, un cordero. The pelican is the symbol of the Eucharisty in the Baroque churches. Okay, in Baroque, you're going to find the symbol of the Eucharisty. It's a little bit expensive to me to explain in English. El pelícano, I explain in Spanish, en español. El pelícano es un ave que cuando la hembra tiene un instinto natural, se autolesiona, como vemos ahí, para que las crías lo primero que coman es de su cuerpo, de su propia sangre. Por eso, en el mundo cristiano, en el barroco, simboliza la Eucaristía.
¿La Eucaristía qué es esto?
Eucaristía.
Eucharistie, dat is de heilige mis.
Esto es, en inglés.
Ja.
¿Quién?
Lucía, sí. La importancia de Santa Teresa, que es lo que...
Claro, sí, ahora.
Sí.
They were from Toledo. Her grandmother died, and her grandfather, Juan Sánchez de Cepeda, they were Jewish, and he decided to convert to Christian religion. then decided to live outside Toledo, and they decided to live in Ávila. Ávila at that moment, I said before, that was an important city. They were lucky because they were living inside the wall. In the 16th century, only inside the wall for noble families. For noble families, they were living inside and working people outside. Later I say you why. Then they were living inside the wall as new Christians. Teresa's father got married twice. With his first woman, Catalina del Peso, they had got 2 children. She died, and Alonso, Teresa's father, got married again with Beatriz. Beatriz de Ahumada, Teresa's mother, when she got married, she was 15 years old, very young. And she had 10 children, 2 sisters and 8 brothers. Teresa said that in her biography, we were 12, 3 sisters and 9 brothers. Teresa was number 5. She was born here March 28, 1515. She was born inside a noble family. When she was a child, Teresa learned to write and to read. It was lucky, especially for women, because in the 16th century, a lot of people, they were illiterate. And Teresa's mother transmitted her children love of music. Later, she did the same inside the convent with sisters. When she was 12 years old, her mother died. From that moment, the rest of their life, her mother was Virgin Mary, she said in her biography. When she was 16 years old, Teresa could study. She was studying. You come inside. Him, like a father, okay? But before was an ancient, because was the padre putativo, padre adoptivo. Teresa, for her was her main protector. Always is Teresa close to Saint Joseph. 17. Nowadays the vocations are different because the official language, Castellano. When the king reconquered Toledo, the king ordered to repopulate again this area. Then in Ávila was built the wall. The wall in the Middle Age, the wall was closed, and is the reason why the king ordered it to build churches opposite the gates of the wall. The wall has 9 gates around. There are 9 churches. Today it's opposite because the wall is open and the churches are closed. But in the Middle Age were open. If the city was attacked, people said that the people who live inside the wall, they could protect churches. Inside the churches. In the 15th century, all of the noble families, they were living inside the wall, okay? And the wall divided the social stages of the city. Inside the wall, behind the gates of the wall, always we're going to find a palace, and opposite the churches, working people living outside the wall around. So Boña is the name of the Parador. Okay. So we have here St. John of the Cross, an important writer. He was born in 1542 in Ávila, in a poor family. When he was 25 years old, he helped to Teresa to do the reform of Carmelites. Okay. So let's go in that way now. Okay.
Sale al momento justo.
Sí, Ávila tiene sol, siempre. Podemos tener...
Een soort kruidenboerendokter, geloof ik.
Nee, wel bescherming, het is ook toch uit.
Ja.
This is
Voy a probar.
jeroglífico.
Ben jij de helft?
Las autónomas, before.
Ja.
You know, before comunidades autónomas.
Adolfo Suárez.
Hey, John, dat ben jij ook, hè?
Hola Adolfo.
Which was built at the end of the 12th century, 1175. It's Romanesque, and the rest of the church is an early Gothic. Okay, the name is El Salvador, Catedral del Salvador is the name. Another difference, for example, among the stained glass windows. Over there, at the bottom part, in the presbytery, the stained glass windows dating from 16th century. Here, stained glass windows dating from 18th century. You know, in the Iberian Peninsula in 18th century, 1755, there was an earthquake very, very important in Lisbon, in Portugal. Yes. It said that here in Ávila, all of the stained glass windows here, these stained glass windows were broken. And in the 18th century, Ávila was an important crisis. Ávila, after to be the most important city in the 16th century, at the beginning of the 16th century, later Ávila became in an important crisis. Okay, the royal family moved to Madrid. Then a lot of noble families they went to Madrid, and Ávila lost a lot of population. Okay, it's the reason why Ávila Cathedral was never finished. It was covered in brick with cheaper and granite, you know, and only has one tower with the belfry. Okay, but in the 16th century, now inside the cathedral, we're going to see the most important painters, the most important sculptors were working here. Pedro de Berruguete, Juan de Arfe, the Mostrans, or Vasco de la Zarza, Cornelis from Holland made the choir. Okay, so but I think we were lucky because at that moment there wasn't money to finish the cathedral, but there wasn't money in the 19th century to destroy the wall. In 19th century, in Spain was built the railway. Then many cities like Barcelona, Valencia, Sevilla, Zaragoza, the walls were demolished because it said that the national government thought that at that moment the walls were a problem for the in Spain, when you see seems Renaissance still, but a lot of decorating is called laten. Because remains the master symbol. Okay? So, first time is used black stone, represents Balthasar, okay, of Christ, okay? A lot of figures upstairs. And in the 18th century it was added the altar inside and the green to close. Until 19th century, this place, this site, was used to celebrate everyday mass. And only main altar for Sundays. Nowadays it's similar. Every day there is a mass at 9 o'clock in a small chapel over there, and main altar only for Sundays or special days. The church, okay. The tabernacle, down, made in alabaster in the 16th century by Vasco de la Zarza, the Portuguese sculptor. Upstairs, the stained glass windows are the oldest ones, see, from 16th century. And down on the floor there are a lot of tombs, bishops' tombs from 14th century to 19th century. We are in a cathedral, you know, which means cathedral because inside is the cathedral. At the university is the same. Cathedral. Isabella, Catholic Queen, one of the most the favorite books was the Evangelio of St. John. Okay, and he gave the name her son, Virgen in Ávila, the Prince John, and the daughter Juan and Juana. So Matthews with the angel, upstairs St. George. So this stone is called piedra sangrante, blood stone, because the iron is natural from Ávila, this stone. Okay. So let's go on the left. It's a sarcophagus, but it's empty. Okay? Yes, it's empty. Made in walnut wood. So The most important piece inside is the monstrance.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, or I don't know when, you are going to visit Toledo. The most important monstrance, the most important history in Spain is in Toledo because it was made in gold. This other is the same family, Alfe, Juan de Alfe, outside the wall.
Ja.
And the rest of the church inside. Yeah. The floor is a Latin floor.
Sorry.
Living in when the military regiment, he was Republican. Then when Franco, he was Claudio Sánchez Albornoz was living in Argentina.
Oh.
Yes, and when Franco died, he came back.
He came back.
And he died in 1984. So here you can see Calderón. You know who is this woman? Is the owner of the news Hola. La revista del Hola.
Dat is...
Yes. Cariño, Mercedes Junco Calderón is la propietaria, is the owner of the
de
Hola.
eigenaresse van het tijdschrift Ola. Die heeft die bloemen gestuurd.
Yes. He died 4 years ago. His wife died before in 2001. Amparo Llana was buried in Agustina's chapel and later was moved from Cuit to Beda to be buried here with Adolfo Suárez. Okay? Always has flowers.
Okay.
Nice to meet you and thank you so much for your attention. Enjoy your travel. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Que os divirtáis. Chao. Buen viaje. Buen viaje.
¿Qué llevo yo? ¿Yo esta de mañana? ¿Esta mañana? Sí, yo.
En je krijgt nog een hele blauwe lucht, precies erboven.
Sí, ¿verdad?
Precies boven de stad is blauw voor de foto. Moet je kijken. Daar is zwart en boven de
Ja,
ding is
daaronder
blauw.
het speciaal.
Maar speciaal service voor de toeristen.
Todo incluido. Dat komt omdat we die kathedraal hebben bezocht. Worden we gelijk beloond. Geen aangang.
Maar dit is natuurlijk wel uit elkaar. Oh, dus
Ja, het is ongelooflijk hoe katholiek het hier is. Hè? En nog iedereen, nog 95% van de bevolking van Ávila is op de een of andere manier betrokken bij de kerk. Ja. En deze 2,5 kilometer muur, die 9 ingangen, die 88 torens, er staan 20 paleizen binnen. 20. Ongelooflijk. Die gaan we zo direct mooi fotograferen, want juist omdat we nu zo goed bezig zijn met het geloof, daarom hebben we de zon erop staan. Hebben we zelf afgedwongen.
Daar komt weer een donderwolk.
Maar als katholiek mag.
En van daaruit rijden we zo verder naar het mooie, zeker zo mooie Salamanca. Ja, dat groen is nou zo mooi met die zon erop, hè?
Ja.
Net fluweel.
Ja.
Dus dit is gewoon de laatste wegen.
Kleuren. Hier waren we gisteren.
Een laatste blik op Ávila. Het is nu woensdag 7 november 2018.